Hey baby dolls, you're back. I want to talk about front running the Fed and getting ahead of the market and investing for the future. You know, in the charts, there are clues everywhere. And surprisingly, I track over 50 influencers. I go through everyone. But they don't actually do the hard work. They're just playing around. I don't know, they're making money from other sources. So maybe they don't actually need to go to these intricate details. Only very, very select few bother to. So this is the 2018 to 2019 bear market, and we're looking at Bitcoin. So this is a Bitcoin chart. So this collapse you'll see here, let me get a little pencil. This collapse you see is, where is it? Yeah, this collapse that we see here, this is where the Fed did their last rate hike. So they did their last rate hike here, and then stocks collapsed, and then Chairman Powell came out and he says, hey, let's think about not hiking anymore. So that was actually the pivot. That was the pivot. The stock market, it went down 20%, and after this, it started rallying. It started recovering. Crypto stayed down. So this is Fed holding rates. I've got it in green, nice juicy green, because this is actually the moneymaker. This is the moneymaker. Do you want to know when they cut rates? 6 months later. So after 6 months, the data was starting to turn. Look when they cut rates. So you have to think about the psychology of everyone now. Everybody's a weak hand. Everyone's got little sultana balls. No one wants to put their money in. They are going to feel confident. So you think, oh, I'll sell the top. No, you won't. No, you won't. Do you know how bad it was up here? I was like watching everything up here. It felt like, you did not know the next. It looked like, oh my God, it's literally going to the moon. That's what it felt like. Remember, I wasn't exposed to Twitter and YouTube, so I was just sitting on the sidelines. And that is the most important aspect to consider, because not everybody does their research. Everyone is working, living their own lives, doing whatever they want outside of crypto. Then they check their portfolio and then they feel the emotions of the crowd, because they are the crowd. That's the actual real reading you need to get. And guess what? The Fed did a U-turn. They started cutting rates. That was the top. That was the actual top. And that's why, I can't say the C word, the zombie virus was so vicious because they had not U-turned fully yet. They had to cut rates all the way down here. Down here, they're like, that's it. We're going to zero and we're turning QE back on. So if you wait for the confirmation, you're going to get screwed, man. Like, by the way, we don't know if Bitcoin's going to do this. So up here would be an equivalent of, see this rectangle? It's like if Bitcoin got to 48K here. Maybe it stops in our cycle. Maybe it only stops at 30, 35K. But man, you're going to feel real silly. You're looking at Bitcoin. And by the way, this is equivalent. So whatever Bitcoin's price is, it's the same for every single thing. Cardano, XRP, DOGE, SHIB, ChainLink, Hex, everything. Polkadot, Solana, everything. All right? It's the same game. Whatever Bitcoin is here, it's like this rectangle down here, we're looking at 16 to 20K Bitcoin. Maybe it's only stopping in our cycle around the equivalent here. But you're still going to feel stupid. Real dumb. Imagine the altcoins go up 3 to 4x, then you start to feel confident because of their U-turn, and then we tank down again. Or a retrace, right? Maybe don't retrace all the way, but you're going to feel really silly because you know this information. That's why you're listening to me. Like, you know this information. I know people are going to join the crowd, but that's okay because everybody just loves. Let me show you the God candle. This was the disbelief God candle. You see this right here? This is what started everything. This little thing. And then everyone thought, nah, too high. Oh my God. And then like, what's going on? Hello, what's going on? Like, I'm living this day by day. And like, okay, it's settled down. Bang. I remember I was in Da Vinci's channel here. And he was like, yeah, we should come down here. I specifically remember this. He's like, yeah, we're going back to 6,400. Think about experts who had bought Bitcoin at $1 was saying we're going to go down. And look what happened next. Bang. Crazy. You know, I remember Da Vinci, by the way. So someone who bought it at $1, he had sold in the previous bull market. He bought back half of it at 4K. But this move went up so much, he had to capitulate, buy back in. And he got back in, I think, at 9,500 right here. So this is where he got back. I think if I remember, he bought 2,000 Bitcoin at 4K. And then he got the other 2,000 here. So he capitulated basically back in. So think about that. An expert like Da Vinci, who'd been in since $1, telling everyone to buy, he thought, we have to go down. We're going down. I remember this, man. I was in his Telegram channel, my friends. This is when I first came. I was like, oh, wow, this guy's an expert. Look what came next. you have to live this candle by candle, because that's the only way we get better. We front run everyone, and that's the only way you make money. You only make money if you take on risk. So now that we've seen this, right? Let's bring it out to today. What's happening today? You know this rectangle? This is where the Fed hike rates. This is where the US Fed actually hiked rates in March. But look, I mean, this is a log chart. All right, look how this, it doesn't really change much. But look, you got to think, man, before the Fed had hiked, interesting, exactly 4 months before. So in December, around November, December, around 4 months before, Bitcoin went down 52% before the first rate hike. This crushed all of us. All of us, man. This was an absolute bloodbath. And if Bitcoin went down 50%, I think Ethereum went down 60%, altcoins went down 75, 80. It was absolutely bad, man. But look, the important message to get, so I'm gonna run it here. 4 months before the Fed move, that was the move. 4 months before the Fed move. So before Fed rate move. That was the move. The actual top was 4 months. So I hope you kind of let's go back quickly, before they started actually pivoting. Yeah, before they actually were like, you know what, we've actually got to pivot. Where was the Bitcoin low? So if you go back 4 months, it's around here, It's not an exact science, but you get the point, so 4 months. So you can go back in time here, and let's say you met someone, they're like, hey, the Fed's cutting rates, I've got to buy Bitcoin. And you're like, hey, man, you're 4 months too late. And 4 months in crypto is literally an eternity. 4 months too late. That's the difference between because I like to be very conservative with entries, a $4,000 Bitcoin and 13,000 to 12 to 13,000. That's huge, man. 3 to 4x. What's going to be like in the altcoins? So I believe now the Fed's basically pivoted now. Okay, you're waiting for. This is the only thing we don't know. We don't know if there's going to be some sort of disaster with the bonds or stocks to come. We don't know what it is, and if it affects the stock market, because we have to wait for the CPI and the unemployment data. Because if the CPI starts turning super aggressively down and the unemployment rate starts shooting up and people start firing, the Fed will say, oh, crap, man. Actually, they're not going to say crap. They're going to be cheering in the shadows saying, yes, we crushed the economy. That was our job. So we might find that if an echo bubble plays, let's get the brush out. If an echo bubble actually plays out, we're going to find that maybe, Bitcoin's back to 36K or something by June next year. And what's going to happen? All the influencers are saying, yes, they're going to print, yes. By the way, they're acting smart now. They're not going to act smart when this happens. They are going to say, the Fed's printing, the Fed's going to start cutting rates. It can only go up with me. That's what they're going to say. And I'm going to be telling you, Haboob, the move was 4 months ago. That was the time to actually go all in. Now, I've been saying it's a buy down here the whole way, but better you get used to this than you hopping on here, because who's going to be the weakest hand of all? When the crash happens, let's live it. We have to live it together. When, this is painful. When the crash happens, what do you think these yellow arrow people are going to be doing? You have had a trial by fire. You're like, whatever. We have apathy now. We're like, whatever, send it to zero. I don't care. Everything's a scam in this world. We're all going to die anyway. That's our attitude right now. So we're very numb. We're strong. But the people who are buying up here, they're weak. They're drinking soy. Do you think they are going to, after waiting this whole time, because they think they've got the bottom, they think they have a confirmed bottom, and now they have to sit through a 40% Bitcoin drop, which means probably 55% Ethereum, which means 60% altcoins again, and everybody's saying the worst is yet to come, because they're going to be saying, oh my God, the Fed can't print rates, can't print because of X, Y, and Z. They're going to be saying that. It's going to be another narrative. So we're not going to be here. That's why if this scenario does happen and we get up here too fast, so I want to draw the next Bitcoin halvening. Here we go, around May. Whoops, let's get a vertical line. Here we go, around May next year, whatever. If we get here, the yellow arrow, I think we've gone up too much too quick before the Bitcoin halvening. Maybe if, let's also consider a 48K. Yeah, around up here. I think that's, we've gone up too much too quick. So the alternative would be a slow and steady rise. Let's delete this. Actually, let's keep it there. A slow and steady rise. So we kind of get to the same price, but we just take a different path. That's what the alternative would be. In this yellow arrow scenario, we're not doing anything. We're not doing anything. We're going to let all the weak hands, because people are going to be selling, because I'm sure if you zoom in, let's say we're looking at the yellow arrow part, there are going to be people who, like, the stock market's probably going to have these jitters down, and people are going to believe it's going to keep crashing, so they'll get out of their crypto. So maybe that happens, so maybe this little dip happens. Maybe like, oh, the stock market's crashing and the data's getting bad, people get out again, and then we recover. So that is what we're in tune for, because it's a disbelief phase. You remember the Wall Street cheat sheet goes like this, right? And as we recover, there's a disbelief phase. We keep doing this. Like, everybody doesn't believe that the bull market is ahead. And then it turns into hope. So that disbelief phase, that's probably what's going to be happening. So we've gone through two scenarios here. If it's a red scenario, if everyone wants to get super excited too early, which is, before that Bitcoin halving, we'll be trimming off anywhere from 10 to 33% of your portfolio to buy back in. But if that doesn't happen, like maybe the FTX debacle is too much pain, and we just got to float up and recover, because that's exactly what happened in 2015, right? So I have some Twitter posts here which go through showing you the stock market and how the data can keep getting bad, but the stock market front runs it. So very interesting, right? So Paul Volcker was one of the US Fed chairmen, and everyone talks about him from the 1980s because he put interest rates super high to stop inflation, right? So let's read together. The US stock market bottomed before Volcker considered ending the inflation war. So he was tough on the inflation war, and it bottomed before he considered it. 4 months before. The stock market front runs this news. Insiders, puppets, speculators, it doesn't matter. Investors can be bull trapped if they wait for a confirmed pivot. So this is in the stocks, this is in crypto, everything. So this is a really, really cool chart, because you can see, I'm going to get a little pencil out. We can see, look what happened here. Let's get this screen out. It is absolutely phenomenal, man. Like, this is crazy. In literally just a couple of months, it just erased all the pain. All the pain. It was done, finally. However, it was different time back here. So let's play devil's advocate. Inflation had been rampant for 10 years. They had Arthur Burns, who was like one of the worst US Fed chairmen ever. And that's who Fed Powell talks about. He never wants to be Arthur Burns, because Arthur Burns let inflation run hot for 10 years before Volcker comes in and he goes, that's it, the party stops now. So that's why maybe this was like a psychological pump from the market going like, yes, inflation's finally ending, new regime shift. So that's a different way to think about it. I even have this arrow 4 months later. So after it gone up, I always say, you follow my Twitter, my YouTube, I always say, price moves first, the story follows later. And look at here, price moves first. See this green arrow, if the stock market does this or crypto, these 3 to 4 months will happen, and then all theyese people sitting on the sidelines, they're going to come back, they'll check their phone, they're going to be at the gym, talking to their friends and family, barbecues, then they're going to come back to Telegram, and they're going to be DMing me on Twitter, everywhere like, why market go up? Then they're going to be watching YouTube, they're going to be watching all the influencers, why is the market going up? And the answer is, we were just too cheap. But, I tell people this, it's such a boring answer, we're just too cheap. It's such a boring answer, but they need, why is the market going up? And they go, because the Fed is going to pivot, and then the data's looking better, and then there's earnings. There's going to be all this dress up stuff. It doesn't matter, man. Honestly, it doesn't really matter. You just know that they print money forever, things go up. That's honestly the best explanation. Yeah, the best explanation. Okay, so another chart. I have to see this, all right? So let's actually read together. The S&P 500 bottoms out before earnings. So companies are still losing money, and the S&P 500 has bottomed out already. But it doesn't matter what you show people. During the depression phase of a cycle, the pain is too much to handle, so they exit and buy higher. So this is it. So let's go deep, real deep. They have this vertical line here. Look at this, vertical line. This is GFC, all right? So everybody thinks GFC is going to happen again. I think it's going to happen in 2030 because 10 years is too much of a short time frame for people remember GFC too much. So it's not enough for the pattern of behavior to come back into human psychology and for us to make the same mistakes. I think we need another generation, another 10 years to come in. So, but it actually doesn't even matter what I really think. I mean, this could still happen, but I'm just saying I think it's unlikely. So let's say it did happen. Look at this. The earnings were still collapsing. Can you believe it? Look at this. By the way, the earnings were collapsing until 2010. How about that? So the stock market bottomed at the very beginning of 2009. So this is really important to see. This period was the maximum opportunity you can get. However, it was also the time where the crowd was the loudest. You had the maximum reputation risk, like absolute maximum, because you have stupid people like me saying it's going to get better, it's going to get better. I'm saying that, but the earnings are going down. And not just like down once a while, like every single period down. And people are referencing 2008. So it's been going down all of 2008, all of 2009, 24 months of companies losing profit. Every single month. How bad is that, right? And people come out and saying, holdings are a scam, stocks are a scam, they're going to be saying crypto's a scam, everything's a scam, yes. But when they say that, it's a signal to you going like, oh, things must be cheap. And they were. The S&P, literally, the up-only blue chip index of the world, USA Army, give you 3x. Come on, like that's literally the biggest blue chip of all. You get like trillions of dollars of liquidity in here. So it's literally, it's staring us in the face, right? But of course, everybody thinks, maybe that worst is yet to come. What if it doesn't, man? So the most important part is everything front runs. Everything front runs. So it's unfortunate that the crowd got like a whiff of bad news in crypto early, and everybody has been right for the big bulk of the move, and they have. That's why it's very it's painful to see, but this doesn't go on forever. So you have a choice here. What do you want to do with your money? Stay invested, like you can sell. What if we go down? You have all these considerations, man. I'm not getting rid of anything. I don't care. Because anything that goes down from here, yeah, I'm upset, but it just brings it deeper into a buy zone. It just brings it deeper. It's like if you had an alcoholic friend and they had stopped drinking for 3 hours and they were begging you, please, one more drink. And you were saying, no, the right thing to do is to get off it right now and stop drinking, And then they kept telling you, but I'm feeling more withdrawals and it's hurting me more. And then, you won't be saying, okay, have a drink now. You would be telling them, yeah, the more it hurts, that gives me more conviction that you should be stopping, That's how you got to think about it. It's building conviction as if it disconnects more. But I always draw this scenario of us going to zero just so we're mentally prepared for anything. Because when the zombie virus came, I don't want you to be panicking. I want you to be spinning in your chair and sending memes on WhatsApp and your friends and Telegram and Twitter. I want you to be having fun because everybody's going to be losing their mind. We've all lost the plot here. I was spinning on my chair. I had friends from overseas calling me, crying. Like grown men crying, man. Grown men crying, telling me, they asking me, said, please, Swami, tell me it's going to be okay. I'm like, bro, of course it's going to be okay, man. It's a fucking zombie virus. Who cares? Now, secretly, I thought, shit, man, this might be the end of the world. I actually thought that, but it ended up being actually up only. So this is what you want to be doing. Because I was mentally prepared, man. I was mentally prepared. Because I saw everything fail, and I was birthed in this capitulation. I was birthed in here. So I was like, oh, wow, we can go to zero tomorrow. So because that was my training ground. See, everybody came in and up only. Everyone came in up only. They got trained for up only. I was trained in down only. That's why when this happened, I didn't sell, man. I was like, okay, can I sell one of my kidneys? Do I have a spare testicle? You should be thinking about that. But now everyone's thinking about this. Every single person's thinking about this. They're like, yeah, Bitcoin, when? They're not saying if Bitcoin gets to 10K. They go, when it gets to 10K, when it gets down there, I'm really going all in. Well, I don't know, man. Let's say how much you really believe in your conviction if we get an echo bubble that sends it to 36K. Let's see how much you really care. Because if they start buying when the Fed pivots, then you'll know they don't know what they're doing anyway. And these are the people that are going to be selling back at the lows for you to rebuy. So maybe we get this. Maybe get to increase your bag by 10%, 20%. It's better to at least be in the game. You get your gloves on, you're fighting in the ring, sparring. Because really, I know at the end of the day, in 10 years, this is irrelevant. All of this is irrelevant. Or the only thing that matters is that you just held. That's really what matters for the 10-year run. But, 10 years, we can't go in a coma and disappear. So this is the plan laid out next year. And now we know the stock market and crypto, we're going to front run everything. So if you take back one thing from here, I want you to remember this pain, man. We dropped, and by the way, I want to choke someone for this. So much pain here. We dropped 50% in Bitcoin before the first rate hike of the Fed. Okay, if the curse is no longer here, remember Jim Cramer's super bearish down here. He's super bearish, right? So if the trading gods want to reward us for our sanity and staying around, maybe when the Fed pivots, you know, somewhere in March to June here, maybe when they pivot, we are already up here. And we're going to be looking back and going, aha, the time to start allocating was back here. Now, I'm fully allocated and you are too. But at least, you know, it's not that the worst is yet to come, man. There's a good chance the best is yet to come. And if you have any money to allocate, you shouldn't be waiting up there. You should be just chipping away, right? That's what you should be doing. Until next time, friends, I'll catch you